I, male 24, was responsible for reading a eulogy at my dad's funeral. It wasn't a surprise when he passed away. We knew for months it was coming. My dad was a fantastic father. He worked his butt off to make sure our family did okay. He also made a real effort to be there for me and my siblings. He came to our extracurricular activities and volunteered at fundraisers. He let my sister paint his nails and taught me to drive a stick shift against my will. He was, however, a crappy husband. My mom is a strange person. I used to love her, but she cares more about the appearance of things than the truth. After my youngest sister was born, my mom stopped wanting intimacy or any affection with my dad. I heard them fight about it. He never tried it again after being rejected constantly. What he did do was have affairs, lots of them. My mom threatened some really crappy things to force him to stay married to her. She threatened to go to the cops and accuse him of abuse if he tried to divorce her, but was okay with him sleeping with other women as long as he was discreet. So my dad basically treated my mom like a business partner. He gave her a lot of money to pay all the bills, and she got to keep her paycheck for herself. In return, she left him alone to be a dad and smash. It worked for them. He wrote his own eulogy because he wanted everything out in the open once she had nothing to hold over him. Since it was his dying request, I agreed to do it. It was funny, vulgar, profane, and honest, just like my dad. My dad's dad thought it was hilarious. He used to tell my dad to just leave dozens of times, but my dad didn't want to leave us with just my mum. My other grandparents, on the other hand, are furious about all the stuff that came out into the open. My mum is calling me an idiot and says that she's going to do her best to make sure I never see my sisters, but one is an adult and the other one leaves for college in August. We've banded together against her for months now. Am I the idiot for following his wishes and reading a eulogy that he wrote for himself, exposing all the BS in his marriage and life? I might be one because it exposed the crap my mom would have preferred never to see the light of day. Not the idiot. If I wrote my own eulogy, I'd want it said to the fullest. I think it's awesome you honoured your dad in such a way, but I'm sure if you turned him down, he would have just found someone else. I'm sure the anger from your mother's parents is rooted in their own embarrassment, and the same goes for your mother. I'm sure your dad would have been proud. Kudos for giving him a chance at poetic justice, even if it's just words, and may those words live on in the minds of those who heard them. Yeah, pretty hilarious to publicly humiliate your wife once you're not there to deal with the fallout. Better to put the fallout on the kids. Sounds like OP's parents had a terrible marriage. That's on both of them. I wouldn't involve my kids in settling the score with their mom. That is deeply crappy, not some iconic move. OP is grieving, and I'm not going to put the blame for this on them. It's hard to say no to a dying request and fully consider the ramifications of this kind of black-hearted eulogy, but the dad is a true idiot. I agree that it was an idiot move to put it on his kid to do it. If he wanted to air out their dirty laundry, he should have recorded himself reciting the eulogy and requested that they play the video at the funeral without having anyone watch it before. He burned that bridge while his kids were still standing on it. OP is still not the idiot for following his dad's dying wish. Yes, the relationship between his parents was between them. Is his mother a good parent? If so, I hope it was worth humiliating her and risking being cut off from her. We don't necessarily know the full story here, so if the eulogy said crap like, "My wife refused intimacy with me for no reason, so I cheated with loads of other women," when she may have initially had a legitimate reason, e.g. a traumatic childbirth, that, of course, she and her parents would be unhappy. She was using the children as weapons to keep her husband married to her after she baby-trapped him. She threatened to go to the cops and accuse him of abuse if he tried to divorce her. She controls the youngest daughter and can ruin their relationships with her siblings. What do you think? I'd say she's not a good mother or a good person. OP's dad is removing the wife's ability to control the narrative. I love it. He got one over your mom from the grave. I share custody of 3 boys, young teen, tween and pre-tween, with my ex-wife. We've been separated for almost 5 years. During that time, we used a sitter for the 2 oldest boys and now for the middle and youngest boys. Our sitter is very much like a member of our family, and my tween is very attached to him. Unfortunately, our sitter is ready to move and agreed to stay until the end of this summer. My ex remarried a few years ago to Chris, and they have no kids together, but he has an 18-year-old son. Chris offered to become the sitter since he can work from home full-time and misses being a hands-on dad. No, he wouldn't get paid. I said, no, I'm good. He was pretty upset and asked why. I simply said that he's not a neutral party and I don't think you'd connect with the boys as our current sitter has. Plus, I don't think he has the patience. I can't see him having a sense of humour when the oldest cops an attitude, when the tween refuses to shower, or when the youngest whines. I said worst comes to worst, I'll take care of it myself by changing my work schedule so I can work from home full time. He asked me what was up with my attitude and I said I was being blunt. Things have gone well for the last 5 years and I want to make sure it still does. My ex is angry at me and is complaining about the money that has to be spent on a sitter. She said that I should be paying 100% of the babysitter costs if we ended up needing one since I turned down an opportunity for a free sitter. You are the idiot. If you're determined not to let their stepdad do the babysitting, which, barring a pressing reason, honestly sounds like you resent the idea of your kids bonding with their stepdad, then you need to pony up the cash since you're the one vetoing the free option. It wouldn't even be babysitting. Oh no, how dare the kid's stepdad want to actually parent and bond with his stepkids? OP, do you have any idea how many kids of divorce would give anything to have their stepparent actually care about them? It sounds like you're bitter that stepdad would get to spend more time with the kids. And he has an 18-year-old son, so he has the experience and has been involved with his stepkids. Nah, he's jealous and still not over his ex, so he's got to pay for a sitter. I'd be checking the custody agreement if I were your ex. In my agreement, I'm only responsible for childcare on my custody days and can decide what that childcare is. My ex had his mom babysit for free on his days while I was paying for aftercare on my time. Now that I'm remarried, I definitely have my husband's help when needed. Update, my kids are not dogs who love anyone that feeds them and takes them out on walks. Chris hasn't been hands-on with them because he has his own kid, and my kids are mostly with me. Being a sitter is unlike any role he's ever played in their lives. I already know how it will go down. He's going to think the boys will be happy to have him as a sitter, will listen, want to snuggle and talk to him about personal things because that's what he did with his son. His relationship with his son has always been odd. My kids will hardly be excited and will likely want to avoid him in that capacity. I, 27 female, have a kindergarten-aged son with my ex. I'm still on good terms with him and he's a good dad to our son. He also has a stutter and he's very insecure about it. It was my son's birthday party 3 days ago, and the first time my husband's family met my ex, so I told them about my ex's stutter and asked them to please not make any remarks. Everybody got the message and was very patient with him except my sister-in-law. I guess because, during their first conversation together, my ex had a bit of difficulty finishing a sentence. My sister-in-law started huffing in annoyance and I just gave her a stop it look. During another conversation my ex had once again trouble finishing a sentence. My sister-in-law said, maybe we need to come back tomorrow and by then his sentence will be finished, which made other people laugh, but not my ex. So I took my sister-in-law aside and told her to quit, and if she had so many issues with talking to my ex, she should go talk with other people. She promised she'd stop and we left it at that. But during yet another conversation when my ex's stutter showed again, she said, so are you going to finish that one or should we just move to something else? At this point I had enough and finally asked her to leave. I told her that if she couldn't respect my ex's stutter, her place wasn't here. She protested and said I couldn't kick her out of her nephew's birthday party, but I answered that I could. My husband arrived and told her to leave to avoid further drama. She agreed and left. Once everybody left, my husband started yelling that my behaviour was embarrassing, that I ruined my son's party for childish drama, and that his parents were now mad at both of us for kicking my sister-in-law out, and apparently they said they wouldn't allow me in their house again if I didn't apologise to her. Not the idiot. It is not childish drama, it's ableism and straight-up bullying. I have a speech impairment and difficulty phrasing what I think, and people often do similar things when I'm talking. The one thing I noticed is that people are always trying to undermine me or make me seem less than them. I believe your sister-in-law already wanted to make your ex feel unwelcome at his son's event. What the heck? Your sister-in-law is the idiot. A huge one. OP, open your eyes already. You chose to marry an idiot too. Idiots often have idiot relatives. So please, go petty. Call your in-laws and say, I'm sorry you failed to raise your daughter without basic social graces. I'm sorry that you've allowed her to become a bully. I'm sorry that I can't co-sign her behaviour like you do. Definitely do that. But wow, the family you married into is horrid. And just imagine their treatment had your son also had a speech impediment. Common decency aside, The sister-in-law must be removed for your son's benefit. Your son should not be around someone like that and witness someone mocking and belittling his father for no reason. That is entirely unacceptable. I would be extremely wary of the humour and examples your husband and his family are setting for your son. Your husband's reaction to this was a giant red flag, and this wasn't little, childish or petty. Also, the party wasn't ruined. The absence of a grown adult making fun of someone's stutter at a child's birthday party could only improve the party. I, 37 male, and my wife, 36, have 2 kids, kindergartner and pre-tween girls. My wife is pregnant with our 3rd kid now. She's 20 weeks pregnant. So my daughters have never been picky about their food since I used to cook all meals and never introduced them to junk food. However, about 2 months back, I was assigned to a new project at work and started working long hours, 70 a week, so I've been unable to cook as often now. I wanted to hire a cook because my wife was having severe pregnancy symptoms, but my wife said she wanted to try cooking for our kids, and she also didn't like the idea of a stranger at our house. I agreed to her idea since she suggested it herself. For the first month or so, she cooked diligently for the kids and both of us. However, after that, she reduced the quality of the meals. What I mean is she started making easy-to-cook foods for the kids. She also started giving them junk food as snacks so they wouldn't be hungry for real meals. I chalked it up to her pregnancy nausea for the first few weeks. Still, last week when I prepared an elaborate meal for the family on Sunday, the kids refused to touch the food because they wanted the usual buttered noodles. So I told my wife that I'd be cooking all the meals from now onwards because the kids are getting spoiled from eating junk food all the time. She got mad at me and said she was trying her hardest and I should be more appreciative. I told her no one forced her to cook, and I'd already suggested hiring a cook, but she was the one who refused. She said that I didn't understand her discomfort with having a cook and that hiring one was out of the question. She also told me that I can cook all meals if I think feeding the kids healthy food is so easy. I told her that I would do just that. That very night I stayed up making different kinds of healthy food options for the week. Fruit salad, chicken stir-fry, pasta sauce with veggies, mushrooms and tomatoes, then blended, cauliflower soup and banana bread. I froze everything so they could be reheated during the week. I've just reheated food throughout the week and gave it to the kids. Since they only want noodles, I added the sauce and chicken stir-fry to the noodles along with grated cheese. They just eat it without detecting any veggies in it. For their school lunches, I pack ham and cheese, tuna, chicken sandwiches the night before, along with fruit salad and chocolate milk. They get a slice of banana bread for after-school snack, sandwiches and soup for dinner for me and my wife. My wife told me the food tastes good, but it's stale food, so she thinks it's the same as what she used to cook for the family. I told her at least I was putting effort into the meals, unlike her, who was using the kids' picky behavior as an excuse to be lazy. She got mad at me and said that she wasn't being lazy and that the kids really were picky. Now she's not speaking to me for the past 2 days. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You're doing a good thing for your kids and for your wife. Frozen isn't stale. She just said that because she feels guilty for not putting in the effort herself. Don't worry about it. She's having a hard pregnancy. Good job, Dad. This is a huge effort, and you're setting your kids up for healthy eating habits in the future. Seems like everyone's the idiot here. You seem to be too over the top about making sure they have zero junk food. All that will lead to is problems in the future. Your wife is pregnant and probably tired, so she doesn't have the energy to cook even though she wants to cook healthy meals and is coming across as unappreciative of what you're doing. Maybe split the load, half prepped by you and the rest cooked by her. It's all about balance. He called his pregnant, nauseous wife, who spends all day looking after 2 kids, lazy. Lazy. He's the idiot. She's not being unreasonable because of her hormones. She doesn't want to deal with a stranger in her house on top of everything she's dealing with. She is pregnant and vulnerable, and OP is brushing her off. I, nearly adult male, have been taking my brother, teen, with me for runs. We tend to go at 6:30 in the morning and it's been really relaxing. My brother and I have also got along much better as a result, and I've gotten to know my brother a lot better. The problem is my younger sister, young teen, wants to join as well, but she's an absolute brat in terms of personality. She always snitches on my brother and me, and she's treated like the golden child by her parents. She's also annoying and has low tolerance and patience for anything difficult. Plus, I don't want to have to babysit a kid and run simultaneously. My sister started waking up at 6:30 to try and catch us, and she would usually involve our parents, So for about a week she came running with us. It was pretty bad. She didn't know anything about proper pacing or running form or mechanics, and didn't really know how to expend the least amount of energy with foot placement. She would get mad at us for running for so long and would get annoyed if we talked since it disturbed her rhythm. I finally got tired of this and told my brother that we'll start early. For the next couple of weeks we left at 4:30ish and just told our sister that we didn't want to run anymore, so she stopped waking up at 6:30. But now my brother's feeling bad and said that maybe we shouldn't have lied, we should have told her up front she's not welcome, but I didn't really want to have that kind of conversation. You are the idiot, but it's because you didn't actually communicate with your sister. She's the youngest and she likes you guys. She's literally willing to try and do something she has little to no experience in just to spend some time with you guys. She's your sister, and if you really want to isolate her from you and your brother, that's your prerogative. Do as you like. But consider how that will impact your relationships with her and your brother. Siblings don't automatically love each other because they're related. That's a myth. All relationships take work and effort. Yeah, all I can think about is how a young teen is getting up at 6:30 in the morning just to run with you guys. To me, it seems like she pretty obviously wants to bond with you. I also hope that during your 4 a.m. runs, you guys are wearing bright clothes or using lights. It's still pretty dark out and you could be putting yourselves in danger. I think OP's not the idiot. I get the people saying there should have been a conversation with your sister, but this seems like a bigger issue stemming from your parents and their favoritism. It sounds like you're ignoring her instead of calling her out in order to keep the peace in your family. The damaged family dynamic isn't your responsibility to solve.